was born on February 6, 1926. So anybody who wants to figure out how old I am can do it. Actually, I tell everybody I'm 28. But no, you see, Jewish, Hebrew, you read from right to left. That makes it 28. A16786. I was born in Eastern Germany, which is now Poland, and I immigrated to France around 1934 with my mother. My parents were divorced, and went to school in Paris. So that's where I learned French. Went to school there, the war started. So I was kicked out of school when the Germans declared war into France, because supposedly I was German, although I was, by that time I was stateless, I had no passport, and we couldn't do anything about it. Mother decided to have me continue to learn English, you know, Oxford English, and things went fine. When the German occupation came, we didn't want to wear the star, so we changed our name. Mother moved to the property down in southern France, and we stayed in contact off and on, depending on how we get through the line. De Gaulle was ruling southern France, sort of called Free France, except the Gestapo had full run there. And I hadn't heard from Mother for a while when I got a knock on the door, and it was early in the morning. I was ready to go horseback riding, and there was a good-looking young man there. And he showed me a picture I had dedicated to Mother. And he said, Mother would like to see you. She's outside of Paris. Why don't you take some clothes and come with me? Okay. I went, got into his car. We drove. At that point, I didn't know where we were going or what the name of the place was where we ended up, which was on the outskirts of Paris. It turned out to be Drancy, D-R-A-N-C-Y, which was actually an assembly camp for the German. When I got out of the car, he walked me over to the gate of that building, which was like a school, and I was greeted by a military officer in green with two black patches with two S's on each. So I knew that wasn't very good. They took me inside, and inside I found Mother. She had been arrested in southern France by the Gestapo, and that's how they found my name and my address. And we couldn't do much about it. We later found out that good friends she had transferred the deed of her property to for it to be safe in case something happened, decided they wanted the property and denounced her. So that took care of that. So we were told at that point that we would be moved to a labor camp in Germany as soon as another transport arrives from Lyon, which is like central France in the Alps. Now we had rumors, you know, and rumors come everywhere. So we had rumors that the American had landed. So we were all praying that they would get to us before the people came from Lyon. And we could hear cannons in the distance, but the transport arrived. Now, I'm not very conformist, so I started talking to the cook, who was a Frenchman who had been arrested, not a Jew. And I say, how can I escape from the transport? He said, very simple. You make a hole in the cattle car in the center, because you're going to be first-class cattle car, and drop yourself down, feet first to the rear of the train. It's only about a foot and a half. You had wrapped yourself in a blanket. Let the train pass over you, and when the train is gone, you're free. Nobody knows the difference. So he gave me the tools, which was a crowbar and a saw, and I had the blanket. Well, the day came, the transport arrived from Lyon, and we were told in 3 days you'll be moved. The day came, I don't know how we got from the camp to the railroad station. It's a complete blank. But we must have gotten to the railroad station, because otherwise I wouldn't have gone into the train. Anyway, the first thing I did was get into the cattle car and tell Mother to go right inside next to the door, figuring that I'll be able to maybe escape through the door. And for some reason or other, I said to Mother, you know, Mother, we all have to die someday. If it's true what they say, that they kill people, well, that's our fate, we'll die. If we survive, we'll learn a lesson. I don't know where that came from, but the whole experience was a tremendous lesson. Anyway, if we escaped, we had to escape while we're still in France, because most of them were French citizens. They spoke French, and there are a lot of Jewish people who didn't even speak a good French. They spoke Yiddish, and if we did that in Germany, they would have been caught immediately. So as we had gone a few hours, I got up and I said, okay, folks, make some room in the center. The question came, why? Well, we're going to escape. A voice from the left corner came and said, man's voice, if you do, I'll scream. Now, what do you do nowadays? I know what I would do nowadays. I'd gag him, hit him over the head or something, shut him up. Guess what 59 people said? Okay, then we won't escape. Not one of them made a motion to shut him up. But you know, that's the way we were raised. That's what now? That was in the 40s, 60, 67, 68 years ago. So anyway, every night the guard would open the gate, take 2 people to empty that potty and walk out. Well, I started flirting with the guard. He was an ugly little cuss. He was shorter than I was. He had a moon face. I mean, I can still see him nowadays. He was not an SS. He was just a recruited soldier. Actually, he was even Czechoslovakian. He didn't speak good German. Well, kept making eyes at, you know, 17-year-old girl make eyes at boys. And finally I said, and Mother and I had decided we wouldn't call each other mother and daughter anymore. We would be sisters. So I said, me and my sister would like to escape. We don't want to go to the labor camp. Is there any way? He says, well, the next stop is the last stop before the camp. I'll ask you and your sister to take the pot out. And when we walk apart away from the railroad station, I'll let you go. I'll turn around and you just disappear. I figured we've had it. Blackout in Europe was all during the war in all cities, so that American planes couldn't see that there was a town. So when he opened the door, all the lampposts were painted black, except the one in front of our car. Somebody had broken the globe and a nice white bulb was hitting us. So he just went, can't let you go, because a guard from the next car would have seen it. So that was the end of my trying to escape. Next morning, we arrived at the labor camp. I never saw the gate which says Arbeit macht frei. Well, how could you? That little window, which was like 2 by 4. So anyway, we got to the labor camp. We were told to come out of the car and line up in rows of 5. I don't really need my knitting. I'm not knitting. Rows of 5, and we were marching forward. 2 SS men were there at the beginning, and they were moving like 1 to the right, 3 to the left, 2 to the right, 3 to the left. No rhyme or reason who was sent to the right or to the left. Mother and I were directed to our right. I had tried to ask the German soldier or the prisoner who were lining the dock where we were. Nobody would answer. So anyway, we got into a big room and were told to undress. That was a funny thing. The SS were standing there. We're supposed to undress. We weren't used to those things. You know, we didn't have television with nudity